wake up in the morning, telegram in hand, on to our community, the coolest in the land. Cheese cream drops a joke, got me laughing loud. Then I start to scroll down through the daily crowd. Who's the OG prince, lighting up the zone? Is it Dama Beast or Sav on the throne? Or maybe it's Friday, Flexmas is here. Time to throw some gains and flex without fear. I toss out some questions, looking for the signs. Inside fix is ready, dropping out for lines. I keep on reading, can't look away. Those spicy emojis make my whole day. Then someone yells exit, get off PulseChain. But I ride the waves through pleasure and pain. I live in a limbo of hope and despair, but we're all in this boat and I'm proud to be there. Yeah, I might end up wrecked, burned by the flame, but I'm with the best crew in this wild DeFi game. I might end up wrecked, burned by the flame, but I'm with the best crew in this wild DeFi game.
And we're live. Welcome to PulseChain. My name's Matty Allen. I'm just kidding. Shout out to good old Matty Allen. And we're live. Welcome to R2R. Packing a fat lip. Let me juice it real quick. We're gonna go. Oh. Nice little buzz going on right now. Welcome to R2R. Welcome to Rekt Riches. Let's pull up the big screen. We're gonna look at prices. Let's pull up the big screen. Get my face off there. Wait. One more lipper face. Juice that up. All right, let's go. So, guys, tonight we're gonna talk about, is it the end of PulseChain? The truth no one wants to admit. Now, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I am for damn sure not a professional. This is cryptocurrency. Don't ever allow an influencer on any social media platform out there to influence you when it comes to crypto. Because by gosh, you might lose it all. You might. Ain't that the truth? Now, don't forget, guys, we always got to shout out the proud sponsor of the R2R live stream and video content. Paid out already a whopping $659,083 over on Base. Every Friday, APR is 107.05%. You get your Ethereum on Base. You mint your bonds with Ethereum. You get exposure to the same strategies that they use over there. They provide the liquidity. It's all done for you, right? Complete expert entry, exit timing, precision managed liquidity and range settings. And they work with a meme token called Finger Monkey on PulseChain to bring capital over to burn that meme token. Shout out to the sponsor, dexfly.com/bonds. Now, we're going to cover quite a bit tonight. Let's see who's in the comments. Doomed. Oh my God. Crap. I don't know if I want to hear this truth. What happened? I got that Kodiak. In as well. Hey, man, I'd pack a fat one for this one, right? 24/7 packing lippers. That's what we do. But let's get into it. Because I think everything's starting to line up. For me, personally, for what I was saying. If you guys watched my last few live streams back, after the sacrifice money moved, right? Out of mind, out of sight. I said it's gone. You no longer know what's sitting there for the so-called PulseChain treasury. Can't look into rh.com, none of that. It's gone. Just a little bit of money in that wallet. Just a little bit of pocket change. And at this point, I said we're going to be really losing momentum because that narrative is going to kind of die off if we didn't see money come in, especially around this time. And then in addition to that, I said the markets go south. We go down even more. So nothing that has happened is surprising to me this far. Let's look at the price of PulseChain. 4 zeros on a 283. My gosh. The 24-hour don't look that bad. But if you look at the past 7 days, let's look at the past week, 7 days. Holy smokes, 21.81% for PulseX, 4 zeros and a 1.8. Damn. 25.5% in the red. Ink's down 17.8%. Hex is down 2 zeros and a 6, almost a half a penny. Right? Good old Richard Hart calling us out, saying we suck at marketing. Is what it is. He can be a little harsh at times. Good morning. Hello, Sell Pressure. Hello, everybody out there. But the one thing that he could always bring up, what you brought up today, right? What does Richard Hart always warn us about? Things like that. Project called Balancer just got hacked for 25 mil. I guess I don't have any real details. He goes, oh, more like 70 million. 70 million. Then he said you should pull your liquidity out of PHEX. No? Question mark. Which really put a black eye on PHEX, 2PHEX, all that. All the PHEXes are like, hey, what's going on? Just sending waves of fear throughout the ecosystem when it comes to particular protocols such as PHEX, right? And he's been doing these warnings for a long time. That's nothing out of the ordinary for Richard Hart. He does that, right? From time to time. FTX, all that stuff. What was the last one just recently? Crypto was invented to remove middlemen. Odd how crypto bros introduced as many middlemen and leverage and risk as they possibly can find. This stuff was invented to especially protect you from all the stuff you're destroying with yourself. So, let's focus on that statement. I want to focus on that statement for a minute. Reason why I want to focus on that statement is the biggest narrative outside of PDI hitting $1 has always been the speculation of the SAC funds coming in saving the day. If ETH hits all-time high, he's going to juice up and send us to Valhalla. That narrative still exists, even though we don't see that money anymore. We don't know where it's at. It's still there. It still has some strength and some backing and some speculation and a huge community of people that believe that day's going to come one day. Right? However, if that is the biggest attraction to current people on the network as far as PulseChain as being what's going to be the turning point to send us to new all-time highs or just sack prices or bring us back up, you do realize somebody runs that wallet. We just saw them tornado cash. That's why we speculate it's Richard, the good old tornado cash user for years now, right? Where did the ETH go? Got tornado cash. You don't know where it's at. Boom, poof, gone. Spread out. And that's a middleman. Somebody is the middleman holding the keys to the biggest speculation and biggest narrative of the entire blockchain. That's one thing. Whether it's him or not, he'll never say. Right? He'll never say. But you don't know. I'm glad you said that. You ain't seen a dime of that, bro. It could be. It can never come to the chain, or it can come tomorrow. Who knows? But either way, that is somebody that owns the keys to the biggest narrative that people think is going to save PulseChain. On top of that, we saw admin keys go to work when we saw ink get cut in half, and get cut in half. so that there was no longer a incentive to provide liquidity. To strategically, we believe, right, when it comes to ink token, to strategically remove liquidity from all the cores on the main farms and thin out the liquidity. So now you could see numbers do multiple X's and many X's because how thin the liquidity is. That's what we all thought the reason why behind it. But somebody, some man, somebody that got the button did that. And that person we all think is Richard Hart. So the problem we have today is we did not have enough builders in the past 2.5 years to onboard new users. Pump tires came a little too late. Pump tires came about a year after the meme coin frenzy had already taken off on Pump Fund over on Solana. Now we do have the one token that's succeeding right now. They gave us mad utility, mad opportunity to bring new users. Peacock, which is outperforming by far everything else today. Other than with some meme tokens, we'll take a look at those. But Peacock is a meme that was adopted by Liberty Swap. And Liberty Swap went and utilized a cross-chain bridge to bring users from Solana and other blockchains. Kudos to them. That's a beautiful thing. That's why the success with Peacock, and now they have the Peacock DEX, is the first project I've seen get the nod of approval, Liberty Swap from Richard, successfully implement a bridging opportunity to bring new users. And it's interesting because outside of that, the second thing I would look at is our most benevolent and our largest whale out there, good old Tiago, the fire whale, which we all just went through this experience and seeing what happens when you give friends coins. People will turn their back on you when it comes to money, right? You guys hear the rumors out there about Access, and he's addressed it, and it's just an avalanche of sell pressure and disbelief and the loss of trust. And we've seen him pour like a whopping $250,000 as it was dumping, right? We see him buying here at 2 cents. And that money he put in is now cut in half, more than cut in half. It was a rough week for him. But with the amount of money that he has, with the casino he's built, which does have product market fit, with the marketing he has, with the the whole bare knuckle ice fighting and all that, other than Liberty Swap and Peacock and then him, what else do we have that people were even interested in that has a lot of support from Coles, from influencers, just people in general? But I'm like, dude, if he can't pull it off, who can? This guy's pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars into this project right now while it's going down. How drunk are you? I wish I was drunk. I can't drink. I haven't drank in it'll be 4 years since I drank on December 31st coming up. Don't remind me, bro. That's why I'm chewing lip. I need a buzz somehow, but no, I'm not drunk. It's crazy. It's like, yeah, there's not a lot of builders. And the two that we have that are strongest out there is Liberty Swap, which supports Peacock, and then Firewhale. And Firewhale right now is under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of attacks. You see it out there on Twitter. The whole chain is feeling what you would call max pain. Okay. If there ain't no pain, there ain't no gain, right? But what do we have to feed off of at this point? We still look at Richard Hart, the middleman. Is he streaming? Is he bull posting? Is he calling people out? Right? The whole success of Hex was basically 2 years straight of him battling and debating people on that 10,000x chart up and to the right, being one of the greatest performing assets that we have seen. But PulseChain has been a complete opposite for going on 2.5 years now. And I feel right now that outside of just, hey, SAC funds are coming, there ain't a whole lot of hope out there. Now, that could be the biggest opportunity of your lifetime, or it could be the signal to exit PulseChain immediately. It's really up to you, right? But PulseChain's been hurting, and now we can fly over and take a look, and we'll just look at CoinMarketCap before we go to Trading View, and just look at the overall market plummeting right now. Bitcoin's below 107, Ethereum's 3,600. Man, Solana's 166, BNB went down below 1,000. Which, by the way, I've talked about Aster token quite a bit. CZ just posted the other day, right? Talk about bull posting and really defending your chain and supporting something, even though he officially cannot operate with Binance, right? But he just posted the other day about him buying Aster token with his own money, and that he's already come out and has said, and this is CZ, right, from Binance, that he was using his own money to buy Aster token. Basically saying he's buying the dip. But that does create a lot of hope. He's very active. Okay. And it's a lot of positive sentiment coming from him. And a lot of like taking a page out of Richard Hart's book in the early days. Just bull posting, just giving people hope. Because when the market's like this, you need a leader. You really do. And I know Richard says he doesn't work for us, but at the same time, when he says we suck at marketing, well, we don't work for him either. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. I feel like at this point, at some point, if the chain is going to have a chance, the almighty Richard Hart is going to have to find something that's on this chain. Whether he has his boys audit it, someone take a look, he's going to have to back something. Because even like the slightest tweet, and we'll go take a look at the price right now of the famous PDI. He had showed the PDI chart many times in tweets, has pumped it numerous times with tweets, and then ultimately caused the massive crashes. So we've seen him go from bull to bear to completely FUD PDI. Can call it stupid, this and that, recently called it garbage. But if PDI is garbage, there is no better chart in the entire chain other than now Peacock that's forming a beautiful chart, from its inception, that did what PDI did. So a stupid, garbage, worthless token, which came out of his own, mouth. He tweeted it. He typed it out, right? Has been fudded by him, but it's been like the best performing asset on the entire chain. Out of everything, And you can argue PTGC, but PTGC had a bonded liquidity early on with PDI and got to ride that wave with X multipliers. So the success of PTGC, rode the wave of PDI and proved Hart's law that it worked, that it actually worked. I would like to see him support anything, something. And we know he's said Liberty Swap, but I mean, if he supports Liberty Swap and he shouted it out like, hey man, get behind Peacock, go post a Peacock chart, something, give the people some life, give them some hope. Now everyone's saying 5D chess, he wants to shake everybody out. Well, at this point, it's been a 2.5-year shakeout. And he hasn't even been trying to shake you out of cores. The cores have just been performing the way they are since the SEC happened. And when he beat the SEC, it was a buy the rumor, sell the news event. Up we went and back down we went. So in order for, and let me take a look here. RH wants you to pump his bags. Yeah, in order for us to collectively pump the market, we all have to get together and support something, but it's getting difficult. You can see for people out there for the simple fact that they're getting worn out with the lack of support from the founder. That's what you hear. Okay? And the most successful token in the entire, since the inception of PulseChain happens to be a Peacock, which he says is worthless. But the narrative there is still strong. Atropa, Maria, has lost the crowd, the majority of the crowd, who was like the benevolent player in the ecosystem up until the middle of this year, heading into the middle of this year, and started dumping and selling. And then exploits started happening. So we started seeing exploits happen early on PulseChain. PDI exploited some Maria platforms like the bank, the whole banker app and all that. We see people just player versus player, PulseChain versus PulseChain. And I don't know, I'm confused. Does he just want us to talk about the core tokens? Or does he want us to support things that are building on the chain? Somebody's got to get the nod of approval. Somebody's got to get some recognition. That way, let's say he does start bull posting about Peacock, right? It can keep going far up into the right with the new mechanics it has. That's backed by the Peacock DEX, that's backed by Liberty Swap, and its bridge. If not, it's doing well on its own, but it would be nice to see that. Now, there was a tweet that came out the other day about gambling, which I felt was a direct shot at the X game platform. And I'm like, dude, that is like the biggest whale on PulseChain who talks so highly and believes so much in Richard Hart. And when that tweet came out, I go, oh my gosh, did he just take a shot at Firewell's new X game platform? It started to dump even more. And I would argue that he fudded EHEX. I just think he pointed out that the market chose PHEX over EHEX. But that was a sell-off event too, when he made that famous tweet. So everyone's getting scared, confused, shaken out. It's not like normal behavior. It's very questionable. And I don't know where we go from here. Well, look at this tweet right now. Take a look. Dissect it. Gambling is everywhere, and it's the worst performing financial decision people ever make. Cryptocurrency is best performing assets classes in history. We're not the same. So talk about kicking somebody in the face who not only has invested so much and believed so much in his core tokens, but I do think that came from Firewell selling Ink token and selling Hex to pump X game as it was going down. That could have been triggered as an emotional reaction from Richard Hart. I believe that's my speculation. So it's really getting ugly out there. You know, I think point blank, he took a shot at Tiago. That's how I feel. Is it in retaliation to all of us watching Firewell sell his Ink and his Hex to pump X games? And then X game take another 50% hit? And then almost another 50% hit since he did that? I don't know, but at least he's building. It's like, what direction can you go? Right now, it's just Peacock, right? That has like true known support, utility, and it's different. Richard has yet to come and make a tweet that's like, would make you think differently. So like the truth that I believe here, some people will say it's strategic. He wants you to sell your bags. I think he's very emotional about things that are going on. The tablets and all that, people thought it was a joke. People were not happy about being underwater for this long. The sacrifice money, if it was able to be monitored now, you would know that he's below his entry point because ETH is at 3,600. So we still know that regardless of the fact that you can't see it. Where do we go from here? What's the turning point? Bitcoin going to all-time high, Ethereum going to all-time high? Maybe. But at this point, we need a little bit more, I think, from a founder. And he will famously say, I don't work for you. And he's put it on us and say we suck at marketing. It is what it is. Maybe we do suck at marketing. Maybe Richard sucks at running a blockchain and we suck at marketing a blockchain. PulseChain is not HEX. That was a single token. It's a lot easier to pump a single token than it is a blockchain that has the weight of bonded liquidity across the board of so many different tokens that people will dump into Pulse and then dump into stable tokens and exit PulseChain. So what do we do? That's the big question. What do we do as people that talk about it? Influencers, people on Twitter, investors, they want to do something about it. I think right now is we can do sit back and watch. Sit back and wait. That's all we can do, because every blockchain that I've ever invested in, that's all I've done is not depend so much on, the founders and the tweets, but just depending on innovation, right? We haven't seen any updates to PulseX. We haven't seen any recent, farms added. We're all waiting for that. Maybe that moment comes soon after a big, collapse of the entire belief system that backs just anything at this point. But right now you're experiencing max pain. Now Verdi came on camera and said that I believe that PulseChain in general has turned into a 2026 token, all of them, on when we may see some price performance and some action take place next year in 2026. Possibly. Or crypto goes down, and the bull market we had was a good one, by the way. If you made some certain decisions, you made a lot of money. If you're in PulseChain, you made money here and there in some certain things, and if you played it perfectly. But I'm not going to lie and say I played it perfectly. I made some pretty big mistakes along the way. Ultimately, you learn a lesson. You go, maybe I should have just held, right? And that's probably what happened with a lot of people with Peacock. I'm wondering if that's going to happen with X Games. I still believe Tiago's on a mission for his casino that wants to continue to pump it. I saw Grimace launch today, had some big supports from like B Roots. We've seen B Roots come on and pump a lot of tokens with his influence. Liquidity is only 49,000. You know that this is possibly a top that we saw here. Could wake up in the next few days out. It could be back down to 3 zeros and a 2. That's the volatility of a meme token, right? That has no utility. You're not going to see a Richard Hart tweet to say, "Oh, buy Grimace," and start posting the chart. If he did, wow, I would be amazed. I'm lost. I'm lost at this point. All I can do is buy and hold, and I'm out of dry powder. Out of dry powder on this chain. I'm not bringing any more money from any other chains. I'm just going to hold for dear life and hope, right? Because what is it going to take for a big event to happen where the whole chain starts to feel the wrath and the thunder of this bullish sensation, and everyone starts to either buy up the cores, right? And it start to pump again, other than it being some like massive whale. And then we're like, it's Richard. But outside of it just being some massive whale coming in and pumping the bags, are we seeing enough influx of new users that are coming and enjoying PulseChain? I don't see much of that out there. I do see a lot of I do see more paid content, more marketing. You see Shill Gates out there, which I know because I've talked to people that paid him $2,000 for a tweet, and he's open about him being paid for shills. So if you see him talk about Grimace, he got paid, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's marketing, which is needed. But it's just, pumping up tweets. That's all. And every blockchain has that. It's going to be real interesting to see how far that gets us, though. It looks like the whole entire chain depends on the SAC funds money. And now the SAC funds are out of mind, out of sight. Everyone's just kind of running around trying to find a place to call home where they're going to bet their money that something's going to happen. And when you do that, you're going to get wrecked. So the only things right now, like the most solid bet outside of the core tokens, when they have their day and they start to pump, is Peacock. That's the only thing right now that the chain has outside of cores that are like that I could call Peacock like an official blue chip of the PulseChain ecosystem, which is worth talking about to bring in more users. Worth mentioning, it's only $21.2 million market cap, but a lot of investors will come in and be like, well, I'm not buying the top, I'll wait, which is good if they're waiting to buy when it dips, and which is good that people will sell as it goes up to give those opportunities to new investors. But what else is getting the massive support right now? Not a whole lot. But there are some tokens that are pumping. I see PHEX out there. Low liquidity, right? Almost $1 million market cap. You're going to eat a lot of slippage buying big with liquidity like this. So you're going to see some massive volatility. You could end up buying the top, it going down, and then you sell for a loss because you get scared. That's usually what happens in a PvP environment. And then so many people start to lose, they just jump ship and don't go back. They abandoned it. DevC was on fire in the early days when it first came out. This launched, 2 months ago? If you want to go that far back when it first launched, right? Compared to where it's at now, this thing was on fire, guys. On absolute fire. Getting a text from my son. So this was an exciting time in PulseChain. This had a lot of like people connecting the dots that Richard was back in it. That died off, and then all of a sudden it's back up. Liquidity is a little not too low. Still can see volatility. And now people are talking about supply, control, and distribution application. And I've been looking at this token, right? And you look at the, whoa, man, coulda, woulda, shoulda, got in late October. And look at the performance here. Now, is this token worth taking a look at? Let's go look at the website. This is one that has launched that everyone is tweeting about when it comes to like the utility and the tokenomics. A lot of excitement right now. A ton of things going across the board that people are talking about and excited. I've been getting a lot of messages in regards to this token. And that excites me. You know, there's life on the chain. There's stuff that's coming out still. But everything suffers the consequence of the underlying assets, which is the cores, like the native token, like Pulse. If this token continues to do well, and then PulseChain starts to take off, could be a big opportunity. $821,000 market cap, right? I like that something like this is popping up. Now, I don't know enough about it to be like, hey, go out there and buy it. But I'm looking. I'm observing. Who else is in the chat here? Who wants to build where there's a $500 million whale ready to wreck you if he doesn't like you? Titan X wrecked most people when they did start to fall with the ETH stake and rug pull. Gosh, it's such a disaster over there as well. Jason AI has been tweeting about PulseChain and some other big accounts. Yeah, we are seeing some more people talk about PulseChain. That could be because now they see it being a bigger opportunity, buying way below, you know, what most people who sacrificed paid for. Very well could be why you see more influencers buying the most dip. Yeah, well, let's go take a look at most token. I mean, he's still an Interpol. He's still the most wanted. He's like the McAfee of our time, the John McAfee. Richard Hart is on the run still for tax evasion. That's a fact. I mean, he hasn't, from my knowledge, been settled yet. But that's not a bad looking chart when you log it out, right? But if he gets off that list, what happens to the narrative here? Does it die? I don't know. All is lost. We are doomed. 2 fucks. Get your money off the fuckses. Per Richard's tweet. Right? And I don't know the code behind fucks and 2 fucks and if they're safe, but a lot of people are saying no. A lot of people are saying it is safe. But Richard definitely tweeted about that today as if giving a warning because of what happened with Balancer, visiting that, right? Which are 2 pretty big protocols on PulseChain. If they take a hit where people are pulling liquidity because of that, I just wonder, because he was kind of like warning about it and saying like, hey, I'm not an audit guy. I don't know if that's his way of saying like, yeah, you need to take your money off, or you should. But there's a lot of debate going on behind that, and I can't look at code, so I can't verify anything along those lines. Ooh, thank you for the super chat. Hey, we gotta hit him. We gotta hit him with the. Let's hit him with the Carlton. and we'll take a look at Vault. Appreciate the super chat. Shout out to Pulse Jitsu. Shout out to you. Let's pull up Vault and take a look what we have here. When was this made? 7 days ago. I believe this is the Vault you're talking about. I believe this is the one. You can confirm if this is the one. 26K in volume today. Let's go look at the website. I believe this is the one. There were some people talking about it earlier. Vault token is launched. The Vault protocol token launches before the lending protocol. Vault is live on PulseChain. Vault is a pure PRC20 token with no active utility until the official protocol goes live on chain. Everything else is speculation, but the story is just getting started. You can stake Vault tokens to receive a share of protocol revenue. You get borrowing fees, redemption fees, liquidation penalties, governance, and multi-chain. One token, many chains via bridges, cross-chain deployment, bridge support plan, unified governance, 3 months, 1.1x fees, plus 10% voting power, 6 months, 1.3x fees. So you get different voting power and different percentages of fees or X's and fees depending on your locking boost. That's it. Okay, he said press the top button. Open Pip-Boy. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's my first time going this far deep. I went to the website before. So Vault Dweller from Vault 369, DeFi lending specialist. Collateral $25,750. Debt $12,380. Oh, cool. Are you the founder? Who's the founder of this one? I'll take a deep dive into this. Everyone only discussed green and forged red. It is the antithesis of smart. Promoting green gets people wrecked. Promote Low's capitulation of good teams. Okay, so Pulse Jitsu. Yeah, normally you hit me with the DM. Thank you, but hey, you hit me with the super chat on a live stream. That's good enough for me. Yes, please take a look. He says, I am. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to dig deeper then into this. Now that I know who it's backed by, who's supporting it, a builder of the chain, right? This is what PulseChain is all about right now. As far as what I feel is going to take it to the next level, is just continuing to support people who build and who care enough to continue the journey of trying to build. So I appreciate you bringing this to my attention, because I do think the most important thing that we can do right now, that we've moved on from some of these narratives that are, no longer in existence, as far as being able to watch and wallet watch the sacrifice money kind of people are getting off the PEDI wagon because of Maria and Maria's actions. We see some different tokens here as part of the liquidation map. So track liquidation opportunities across all collateral types. So it has VPulse, Pulse, UPLS. Is that UpPulse? UPLS, LP pairs, Access, demo only, Solid X is supported. So Firewhale's getting support, which is good. I love the Firewhale. I just hated to see that tweet from Richard, because I felt like it was, a target tweet. Unfortunately, maybe because he did sell, like I said, some of his ink, some of his hex, a lot of his ink, a lot of his hex to pump his token. I'm here for the, you are here for the tech. You're building the tech. You are building the tech. And thank you for the super chats. We got to hit him with the Jerome.
I think you're wrong in the hell. Watch your mouth without a doubt. Jumping on the ground.
So this is awesome to see platforms being built, which we've looked at, two different parts of the ecosystem so far. Like we saw this part that explains, what's going on here. Clicked on the open Pip-Boy section, and I think open the vault section leads to the same thing as well here. I like to, okay, look at this. The networks, Polygon, Avalanche, BNB, Solana, Sonic, and Ethereum, and PulseChain. So that makes me want to get down and dirty with Vault token. Which, like I told you with Peacock, because of the utility and what they're building, I'm gonna go beyond and look past meme tokens. Like Grimace is cool and all that, like great. If you got X's on Grimace, good for you. That's a beautiful thing. But I like to support builders and what they're doing. So Vault, I'm gonna have to start getting me some of this. $1.1 million market cap, thin liquidity, means it can shoot off to the stars pretty quick with some support. And people showcasing obviously the website and the utility and what it brings to the table. And it's new. That's something you can go out there and talk about. All right, hold on. I think it's, how are the balancer forks on PulseChain doing? Any effects? I think PulseChain answers that. FYI, the PHEX exchange is fine. The type of pool that was exploited does not exist on PulseChain. Well, there you have it, right? So that should clear that up. For me personally, I saw the tweets out there. I didn't engage because I have to dig deep into those things and ask people that could take time to let me know. But there you have it from the man himself. Nothing to worry about. Good to know. Suppose is a layer of defense. Also, tide is fine. 2 balancer forks. So all is good. All is good when it comes to the PHEX and the 2 PHEX. For those that give a fucks about what's going on there, the balancer exploit is not a non-factor, right? A non-factor. So obviously a tweet from Richard Hart could be very easily misinterpreted, but it allows you to go out there and get all your facts right. And you saw it here live from the man himself, PulseJitsu. Everything is all good. So with that being said, they did things right from the start. Everything's good. And now he has Vault. So I just want to focus on the utilities that are being built on the chain. And that's where I want to put my money. I know I can make a quick buck on catching like a Grimace early. But outside of that, Grimace is funny and it's a meme. And I've made money on memes and I've learned hard lessons on memes. So for PulseChain, for me, because of the simple fact that it's had so many struggles, even after our great founder beat the SEC, it only makes sense for me to say, you know what? I don't know if the best thing I can bring to the table to onboard new users is a token like a Grimace or any other meme tokens, unless they have some kind of, backing and utility. And that's why, I'm looking for something that we just found tonight, like Vault, which could be a big player like Peacock as time over time as they build and bring more users. Now, I'm going to leave it at that, man, because there is going to be a lot of memes that come out, right? So I will continue to talk about Peacock, Vault. I believe they pronounce it SCADA, right? Supply Control and Distribution Application, which is getting a lot of hype right now. These are things that I'm going to focus on and just draw more attention to that, to try and be somebody who onboards good projects to those that are looking at for opportunity. Obviously, when you come to PulseChain, you're like, hey, the cores, right? But everything that you buy on a blockchain is a leverage to the native asset like PulseChain, right? I have to say, Mr. Jitsu really is everywhere. He has tenacity, and that is what wins. Yeah, you got to hand it to him, because instead of holding his cards wrapped, putting his sunglasses away, hanging up the suits, and walking away from the chain. Keeps showing his face on live streams. Keeps showing up on live stream chat. Keeps building on the chain. And you can either be that person who does nothing and just gives up, or you do something about it, right? That's what men do. We are supposed to move forward and find a way to provide. And providing opportunities is what builders do. So shout out to him because I've seen a lot of people just leave the chain. Builders. Maria's one of them. Maria left and came back. And then came back and got exploited. And then I don't know what's going on there. I just totally drifted from that community because it's just like, all right, way too much has gone on now. The trust is out the window. Then you get these weird streams and comments, and it was very hard to continue to go on. I have bad days too, planning on sleeping in a bear for a week. Oh man. But I think RH has confused old timers with P-Dye, Maria, Tropa, and then what he did with Hex, and then Hex reduced rewards. Yeah, he staked a lot of Hex. You basically are in a position where if you have PHEX, it doesn't make sense to do your ladder stakes how we used to do them. Monthly, weekly, even yearly. You have to stretch it out even further. So the positive sentiment to do long-term stakes because of that reason, which has to do with the T shares, and people are not too excited about it. So I definitely think we need a new face of the chain. And coming back to Peacock and what Liberty Swap is doing, I think it's going to be a good opportunity for them to onboard more people, and then they'll be able to discover all the cool stuff that's being built, whether it's Vault, SCADA, whatever it may be. Let's go take a look at Liberty Swap real quick and see if they got any interesting tweets that they posted. Liberty November roadmap, Peacock to the moon, November 1st to the 8th. What are we on the 3rd? Purchase 200K to 300K worth of Pulse to provide liquidity, November 8th. Wrapped Pulse routes go live, enabling instant movement of Pulse between Ethereum mainnet and PulseChain. Max per transaction, 1 billion Pulse, no daily limit. All fees collected will be used to add liquidity for Peacock. Then November 15th, P-Dye deflationary routes go live. So here comes the P-Dye narrative. P-Dye just will not die, right? Especially now you have Liberty Swap going to bring some bullish news for P-Dye. So P-Dye deflationary routes go live. It's going to enable cross-chain movement between Ethereum mainnet and PulseChain. Wrapped ETH PulseChain, ETH mainnet, two-way bridge launches. All fees collected will support Peacock liquidity once again. And then November 30th, Railgun, PulseChain bridge goes live for privacy-enabled transfers. How to onboard PulseChain. See, there's a lot of hope building up. And that leads me to what I'm going to say at this point. P-Dye to 1,000. It's definitely going to give some price action. The training wheels are off. We're off to the races on this bike with no training wheels. The founder is just saying, you suck at marketing. You got to do what you got to do. So builders will build, and influencers will influence. They will shield, they will support. At the end of the day, I want to support the good stuff, right? So I'm going to focus on builders, all right? For a while there, I was focused on just whatever I could try to make money on, and then getting wrecked left and right. I did go into X Games pretty heavy. You know the story there. I DCR'd here. I dollar cost Rekt into X Games. But you can't underestimate Tiago and his good intentions. And hey, that's a big, giant, benevolent whale. Okay? And he has supported so many protocols and so many builders throughout the entire 2.5 years of PulseChain. and is putting more money into things and has been backstabbed. I mean, he got screwed by Sami. He got screwed recently by Access. A whole lot of things going on, and he's still fighting the good fight. So it's interesting to see him still do that. Please help. What's the point of jumping from coin to coin, blockchain to blockchain, or project to project? What's your opinion? Thanks. I mean, if you're looking for a point or a reason why anyone would do that or why I have done that, it's just chasing money. Right? You're chasing some kind of like feeling of opportunity where you think you're going to hit. And you go from one bet to the next. And sometimes, and a lot of the times, you find out you should have just held the initial thing that you had the most conviction in. The problem is you can find a token that is really good. It is the token that it's going to change your life. But when you start to get FOMO into other things because you listen to influencers, and that's why I say at the beginning of every stream, like, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm for damn sure not a professional. Don't allow an influencer influence you when it comes to cryptocurrency. You have to find what makes you feel that is going to be the best move. The moment you start to make moves because other people are bullish on them, you'll find yourself chasing and going from blockchain to blockchain, which I am guilty of all the time without even the influence of big influencers, just wallet watching. And then seeing influencers talk about different coins where I should have held the one that I was the most confident in, right? And I would have done just fine. It's hard. It's easier said than done. It's a cruel game of emotions that the only way you can really control it sometimes is to set it and forget it and walk away and go about your life until that token hits and has its day. But when you become like a degen gambler, you can't help but to keep on chasing that euphoric feeling that ends up just depleting everything you even started with. And you have less and less and less hopping around. So I've learned that lesson. I'm still learning it till this day, right? I have some pretty big conviction, pretty big plays that I'm in right now that are doing well, like Alpha CAC and some things I've talked about in the members only videos. And, I just have to just keep believing. And as I keep believing, they go up and then they go back down. Then you want to sell, then you sell one wallet, and then you're back to buying it again. It's a vicious cycle. I'm confident in my 5555 stakes give a lot of time for HEX to become valuable. Saves me from myself cheating. Yeah, absolutely. There's some good utilities already built on PulseChain with super low entry positions. Yeah, they're all over the place. You're just going to have to sit and wait. It's timing that changes lives. Yeah, time in the market, right? If you're in X games right now and you're like me, you're buying here, you're buying here, you're buying here, you're buying here, you've DCR'd dollar. You went from a dollar cost average to a dollar cost Rekt. All right. But you have strong conviction in Tiago still. I've had conversations with him in the past, and I like him as a person. I had a normal, what people would normally talk about, like, hey, like kids and family and the important stuff outside of crypto. So my short conversations I've had with him were about that. It wasn't like, hey, dude, what should I buy? Like, hey, bro, like, what's gonna pop next? Nah, I just got a good feel that he was a good guy. And I've seen him be pretty benevolent this entire time. I've seen him try his best to support a lot of platforms. So my next buy, which was earlier, right? It's only down a little bit more. I bought under 2008, some more. I'm going to have to sit back and wait. And I may have to just ignore Twitter like I have been, because I'll scroll across Twitter and see what people are saying. It's not a lot of good stuff, right? A wise man once said, exit PulseChain immediately, buy Alpha Kick and chill. Last chance at sanity. Yeah, that's for sure. If you're an R2R, you know who that is. I own a shitload of Titan X and Bear, and I wait. Yeah, that's good that you that's a good habit that you're forming and that you're waiting, because there's no doubt that Titan X has completely lost a lot of users, a lot of confidence. But if the tables turn and ETH goes to all-time high, whether it's this cycle or the next, and that buy and burn kicks in, that's where you get your big payout. And not everyone's going to make it to that. So the people that do, whether it's a handful of people, right, are going to reap the benefit. And that's life, man. If you push yourself and you will yourself to greatness, doesn't matter if you're somebody who gets up one day and says, I'm going to run a marathon. Doesn't matter if you're that person that says, I'm going to become a Navy SEAL, you know, and you go and you do these obstacles that not everyone can do, but you're so driven to do it. And maybe in this instance, it's holding until you get what you want from it, until the day it comes. There's big payoffs. And not everyone can do it. Not everybody can run a marathon. Not everybody can become a Navy SEAL. Most people give up, right? When things don't come easy, people don't want to try anymore. So for me, I'm just like, I've gone this far. I've gone through the pain. I need to get something from it. I have to. That's what drives me to continue to talk about PulseChain. What drives me to continue to come up with dry powder as much as I can to buy what I have conviction in and just wait it out, because the waiting game has been where the money's at. Now, when the fast money comes, that's where it really messes up that mindset, because once you make quick money, you want that over and over again. And you end up selling something good because it's not paying you right away, and you move on to something crappy, and then the payoff happens and you missed it because you sold. So learn that from me, from my experience. I've made millions of dollars in crypto, and I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in crypto from making stupid moves, jumping from one thing to the next, getting FOMO. Eric from Dragon X built X game, and his farms Tink is having a very bad run. So Eric built X Games. Okay, yeah, I remember he was building. So Eric is the builder of X Games. And his farm Tink is on a very bad run. Yeah, the thing about Eric, though, is that's a smart dude right there. And funny thing is, he has not stopped building. He has not stopped preaching. He has not stopped tweeting. He has not stopped supporting. He is nonstop the entire time through thick and thin. So when you finally see him win, which I'm confident that he will, right? Because he ain't going anywhere until it happens. He's determined. He has the conviction, and he's building, and he's marketing. He's making partnerships. He's making moves. While Jake kind of just parked it and went, wandered off somewhere and, doing his own thing and maybe just giving some time. Eric is like a machine. So you have to really respect that. And as much as we have had wars between each other, it's been a long time, so it's water under a bridge now. I respect a man like that has that type of conviction and has gotten nowhere. So when you see Eric win, whether it's Dragon X or Tink or anything he's ever built, just remember, when everybody ran off and they got scared and the market washed them out, he stood there like a warrior, like a champ, and went through the pain. So when he wins, he deserves it. And you cannot take that away from him. Just like anybody else who does that. So just remember when that time comes, because I believe that he will have his day, It's in his mind, right? And I know how he thinks because it's the way I think when it comes with my long-term convictions is he already won. All he has to do is wait. Okay? And however he got to have that mindset, right? He went through, trials and tribulations and good and bad times, but he's sticking it out, man. All right. Not everyone can do that. That's the difference. Not everyone can do that. Shout out to Eric. They launched farms LP webs at the last very top of Titan X, timing drain. X Games was launched on pump tires. The game and the token have no real relation. Game looks cool. I like the game. When you manage the buy and burn admin keys, well, then you know when to rebuy. Yeah. They had a plan for that. And I believe that no one is supposed to know but them. That is a big advantage, but who else gets to take advantage of that? The crowd that followed along and had conviction all the way up until that point. So if you sold your Titan X bags, I feel you and I understand. If you sold everything in the ecosystem, I understand, right? But if you're holding and when the time comes, you win, hell, you deserved it. You earned it. You earned it. So shout out to those that will make it to the promised lands, whether it's Titan X, PulseChain, whatever it may be. You have to be willing to struggle. Okay, my journey before I made millions of dollars with HEX, because I made good money with Bitcoin being early, good money with Ethereum being early, but it was in early, sell early, right? I bought Bitcoin at $250. I loaded up my first 30 Bitcoin all below $300. I quit smoking marijuana and started drinking more because it was cheaper and kept buying Bitcoin. And then I started selling it when it went to, 15,000. And then I rode back down to 3,000, held on to it, kept buying at 3,000, then started selling at 45. Didn't quite make it to the $65,000, $69,000 Judas candle wick. My Ethereum I bought at $7 was already offloading at $300, $1,000. Sold very few at the very close to the very top. So in early, out early, right? Coulda, woulda, shoulda sold at higher prices. But I was so new to the game, it was up so much, right? Now, if I had held all that Bitcoin till today, I would have doubled up on everything. I would have tripled up on where I sold a lot of Bitcoin to as well in the 40s at 120,000. It's this is a marathon where the turtle wins the race against the rabbit. You've ever seen that? All the Titan X coins, all 40 of them are bridged to PulseChain 1 and the Hart's Law bonding. If RH hits his SAC funds input, that would be cool to see. That'd be cool. I feel like both communities are the same, Titan X and PulseChain. Just curious what that token is even doing right now. Oh, you know what? Who has all the hype right now is ORX. A lot of hype. I think they have a platform coming out soon. We'll see. Maybe we'll talk about it soon. But all in all, guys, we're on our own. There's no RH, there's no Richard Hart streams. There's no SAC funds that we can see. No money coming in large amounts just yet that we can start to speculate. We got builders though. So we went through them. We went through them, right? We were just looking at, we got a follow vault on the watch list. We know Pulse Jitsu's back in that, so that's a buy. That's on the watch list. Peacock, the blue chip, doing big things. We just reviewed what it was doing. X Games, I'm going to keep my conviction. Keep buying. Now that I know Eric was behind it, I'm even more like, hey, that's a developer that as a builder has my respect. As far as like our communications and our fallout, that's another story, but I don't let those emotions get between us, right? Like Pulse Jitsu can say some pretty awful things to me right now, and I'd be like, yeah, but his token's good. And he builds. So I pay my respects to those people that do that. Don't forget, guys, on the like button, drop a comment. Till next time, we shall do it again. Yeah, dog.
I wake up in the morning, telegram in hand. On to our community, the coolest in the land. Cheese cream drops a joke, got me laughing loud. Then I start to scroll down through the daily crowd. Who's the OG prince, lighting up the zone? Is it Dama Beast or Sav on the throne? Or maybe it's Friday, Flexmas is here. Time to throw some gains and flex without fear. I toss out some questions, looking for the signs. Inside Fix is ready, dropping out for lines. I keep on reading, can't look away. Those spicy emojis make my whole day. Then someone yells exit, get off PulseChain. But I ride the waves through pleasure and pain. I live in a limbo of hope and despair, but we're all in this boat and I'm proud to be there. Yeah, I might end up wrecked, burned by the flame, but I'm with the best crew in this wild T5 game. I might end up wrecked, burned by the flame, but I'm with the best crew in this wild T5 game.